Hello, my name is Agent Nikki Kendo with Horrific Encounters. In one of my past videos, we did a top 10 most wanted collaborations to enter the fog of Dead by Daylight, and The Walking Dead was very high up on the list. And we said we would make a document debriefing about what our concept on how we feel The Walking Dead would fit into the realms of Dead by Daylight. So here is that debriefing, and let's get right into it. We first start off with the survivors of the collaboration. I thought that, like Stranger Things and Resident Evil, we would have two survivors put into the game together. This was a pretty tough choice, but we of course needed to have Rick Grimes as the mainline survivor. The second choice was a toss-up between Michonne and Daryl Dixon, and I chose my main man Daryl because I think Daryl is a much more fan-favorite character than Michonne. So when it comes to perks for a survivor, I believe I'm going to have to go to a second source for ideas. Reddit will be the main source for choice for some pretty decent ideas. The first idea is for Rick Grimes by the Reddit user Deleted. I will change the names of the perks to fit a better theme for them. We will leave a link to the Reddit post below if you would like to see it for yourself. How many walkers you kill? You're a seasoned survivalist, you know how to make things last. After healing, mending, or unhooking a survivor, when you have an item in hand, its charges are replenished by 5, 6, and 8%. This also works for the survivor you helped, with flavored text reading, "We are the Walking Dead." How many people you kill? After performing an unhook action within the killer's terror radius 2 times, gain the endurance status effect for 6 seconds, with flavored text reading, "Alright, back to it," said by Negan. And why? Seeing the ones you love killed fills you with rage. For every dead survivor, when stunned with a pallet, the killer is stunned, and you gain a token. For each token, up to 6 tokens, you see the killer's aura for a second for each token, with flavor text reading, "I'm not the good guy anymore." Now, Rick's base outfit cosmetic, I feel, would be a mix for Season 9's age and the look with his sheriff outfit from Season 1. This would be the best outcome for Rick. The reason for this is his sheriff outfit is iconic, but I want him to enter the fog would be around Season 9. I will get to this later when I get to his lore, and I really don't want an Ada Wong situation where she is in her RE2 outfit, even though she was taken during RE4 in her lore. There are plenty of amazing outfit ideas for Rick, and plenty of good legendary skins for him as well. One for a basic cosmetic is Rick's murder jacket, his blue button-down shirt, or for a damn good looking skin would be his CRM uniform, from The Ones Who Live. A few legendary skins we could get are that of Shane from Season 1 in his police hat, or Lee Everett from Telltale's The Walking Dead video game. A few more for Rick are of course his partner Michonne, and maybe even get a cosmetic for Comic Rick with his hook hand, or Rick 2000 from when he went to space in a comic spin-off. Next survivor of the game is Daryl Dixon, a true natural-born survivor. Like Rick, I'm not good at making perk concepts, so we will once again look at Reddit for some ideas. We'll look at some ideas made by Reddit user OKCalligrapher3191, and once again we will leave a link to the post down below in the description. So with the name convention of Rick's perks, I used Rick's questions he would ask other survivors to know if he could trust them or not. So with Daryl, we'll find some decent names for the perks. Now this first perk was designed by Fox Alistair on Reddit. Little Ass Kicker. After repairing a generator for 70, 60, or 50 seconds, Little Ass Kicker activates. You can then rummage through a chest to create a melee weapon. Press the active ability button to swing the weapon, and if it collides with the killer will be stunned for 3 seconds. After stunning the killer with the melee weapon will break and no longer be of use. With the flavor text reading, "I'm gonna kill you. Not today, not tomorrow, but I'm gonna kill you." Rebuilding civilization. You have the ability to rebuild cleansed totems, but you are exposed for 30, 20, or 10 seconds. After, you and the killer can see each other's auras for 4 seconds after rebuilding a totem. With the flavor text reading, "It ain't just about getting by here, it's about getting it all." Tell it to the frogs. Every time a boon is snuffed, its effects will last for 2, 3, to 5 seconds. With flavor text saying, "Couldn't pick it up? If it's supposed to make you feel better, it don't. So with the naming convention of Daryl's perks, only 2 are named after things about him. Little Ass Kicker is what he calls Judith Grimes, and Tell It to the Frogs is the first episode that Daryl shows up in The Walking Dead show. I think that Daryl's base cosmetic should be that of his Season 6 and Season 7 outfit, with his winged biker jacket that he wears throughout the show. So Daryl's cosmetics are pretty cut and dry. I think that his look from Season 1 with the dirty tank top and bandolier of squirrels on his hip would be a really cool look. His poncho outfit would be the next outfit idea. Then after that, I think his white Commonwealth armor would also be a really cool to have in the game, and maybe a skin for him would be when he was imprisoned by the Saviors in the sweatsuit with the A painted on it. His legendary skins can also be pretty cool. Carol is the first that comes to mind, due to their close bond. Then there's his brother Merle, who I think Merle as a survivor would simply be really funny to me with his bayonet hand. Then lastly, since we did Lee earlier, I feel his right-hand man Kenny should also be in Dead by Daylight with him. Something I would like to see is that with Daryl's prestige skin, he gets the ear necklace around his neck that he had really early on in the show. Other ideas for both Rick and Daryl are Glenn, Abraham, Dale, Herschel, Maggie, Ezekiel, and Princess. So here's the hardest part of the document. Who would be the killer for a Walking Dead chapter in Dead by Daylight? The first thought, of course, was Negan, the most popular villain in the series, but I feel he doesn't have much of an ability. So I have gone with one of the Whisperers, the Beta, as our killer of choice. We'll get to why in the lore section of the debriefing later. The Beta's power was really hard to think of and create, but with DBD's new engine, I think that the ideas that we have made are more possible than ever. The Beta's power is The Walking Dead. There are up to 10 walkers around the map, which can be up to a max of 14 with add-ons. Unlike the zombies from Nemesis, the walkers can't hit a survivor if they are repairing a generator, cleansing a totem, or opening a chest. His secondary ability is called Among the Dead. You, as the Beta, can see the auras of walkers that are near survivors. You can then take control of a walker and sneak up on a survivor and hit them with a basic attack, causing you to transfer back to the Beta, causing you to slow down for 3 seconds, from 4.3 ms to 3.3 ms. If you choose to swap back to the Beta before hitting a survivor, he gets a slight speed boost from 4.3 ms to 5.3 ms for 4 seconds. This ability will be on a cooldown for 25 seconds. With the secondary ability, Cull the Herd, you can call the walkers to your location with a quiet whistle. Next, of course, we will get into the Beta's perks. Broken Will. Make them fear your very presence. When a survivor crouches in your terror radius, they cannot stand back up until they are either hit with a basic attack or leave the terror radius. With flavor text reading, "We pissing our pants yet? Boy, do I feel we're getting close." Send a message. One must live to tell the tale of what happens when you're enraged. Every time a survivor leaves at the exit gates, with survivors outside the exit gate, the gates close for 2, 3 to 4 seconds. With flavor text reading, "You'll respect the Alpha, or I end you where you stand." So, back to it. When you down a survivor by any means, the perk activates, showing the auras of every non-completed generator with various hues of aura, depending on how far the progression of the generator is, for 6, 8, and 10 seconds, with a 30-second cooldown. With flavor text reading, "You can breathe, you can blink, you can cry. Hell, you're going to be doing all that." Now, I won't get to the add-on stats for the Beta's power, but I will like to have ideas for things from the Walking Dead universe to use as add-ons. I'll go from brown add-ons to the red iridescent add-ons. Brown add-ons: Science Dog t-shirt, Walker Guts, red-handled machete, Herschel's crutch. Yellow add-ons: Rick's Magnum, Pudding Can, Terminus Map, Prison Phone. Green add-ons: Enid's severed head, Tara's severed head, Henry's severed head, Carl's eye. Purple add-ons: Merle's bayonet arm, Daryl's crossbow, Michonne's katana, Rick's hat. Red iridescent add-ons: Lucille, Alpha's skin mask. We tried to make an idea for 4 add-ons, except for the 2 red add-ons, of course. Each is an item from the Walking Dead universe with importance to various characters in the show. Now, there are plenty more ideas that might fit better, but I like what we have so far. If you have any better ideas, please let us know in the comments below. So now, here are some ideas for cosmetics for the beta. So something I would like to see would be the outfit he wears while in the asylum in the flashback with the wool mask and brown trench coat. Then maybe we could get an outfit based on his past life before the outbreak with a country music style outfit for him. And now as a legendary skins, we could have, of course, the Alpha, then we could have Negan as well as with his Whisperer mask, and have a separate version with no mask as well. There are plenty of ideas for legendary skins for various Walking Dead villains. One idea for another killer would be a skin for the Legion based on the wolves. So that goes through the ideas for perks and abilities for the Survivor and Killer. Now we will focus on the map of the chapter. The only real option I feel would be the town of Alexandria. Now the other option that would be pretty cool would be the prison from Season 2, but Alexandria is a more iconic location in our eyes here at Horrific Encounters. The town of Alexandria would have the design of earlier in the show's lifespan without the windmill, and maybe the exact version is during the Savior's siege on the town, setting it ablaze with grenades and flares. Like in the Resident Evil RCPD, there can be walkers around the map behind walls and under debris and such. The generators around the map can actually light up the houses when powered on, with lights turning on behind the windows. When one generator is powered, Negan's cell can open up to have a chest in it or something. There can be plenty of Easter eggs to the Walking Dead series in the town walls. One thing that needs to be seen is the RV from the show, and Daryl's motorcycle that can be propped up on the sniper tower in front of the town gates that are now the exit gates back to the campfire. I think the icon used for the map offering could be that of either Lucille the Bat used by Negan or the governor's eye patch from, well, the governor. Now in our next section, we will get to what I bet a lot of you have been waiting for. The lore of how each character entered the realm of Dead by Daylight, and where they were before the entity took them into the fog. Rick Grimes. As the horde of the undead were approaching fast, filling the newly built bridge made to connect the communities of the apocalypse, as Rick held his wound and aimed his revolver towards the explosives to blow the bridge, he knew this was the end. As he pulled the trigger and the bridge blew, he was thrown down into the river, where he fell unconscious. As he drifted away down the river, a deep fog covered his body, and as they may have looked, his friends and loved ones could never find his body. All that was left was his revolver buried in the mud. Daryl Dixon. Daryl was captured by the Saviors and kept in a holding cell in their compound. Every day he would start the same song, piercing into his brain. It was like torture. He was broken and beaten like a dog, kept away from his loved ones. One day, as a man came to open his cell to feed him, the guard didn't close the door fully, leaving it open just enough. Daryl escaped and ran as fast as he could. He finds an unlocked door and opens it, running to a group of motorcycles. As he gets out, doors around him open, with his captors surrounding him. He felt hopeless. In that moment, and as he heard Negan's whistle, he knew it was over. Before he could see the man, a deep fog appeared out of nowhere, surrounding the guards, and they simply vanished. But Daryl could hear that whistle. The fog creeps in on him as the whistle gets louder and louder. Just as it would seem Negan would be right in front of him, Daryl was gone, lost in the fog. The Beta. As Beta used his horde of walkers to storm the compound where Daryl and Negan and their group were hiding, the Beta was determined to avenge his Alpha. As he saw his comrades fall around him by the same tactics he used, he charged head-on to fight Negan. Daryl intervened and slit his back. As Beta rose up, in pain, his own knives were driven into his eyes, blinding him. His enemies backed off, as if his own horde turned against him. But he could hear the voice of his Alpha whisper in his ears. This was not his death. It was his baptism. A baptism by death. He could feel as his teeth of his own pierce his skin. He felt at peace. As he fell, the whispers in his ear got louder and louder. until it all fell silent. The horde around him stopped and let off of Beta's flesh. He stood back up with his sight repaired, and he could hear Alpha's voice in his ears once more. With his horde, he will fulfill his Alpha's orders, and he and the walkers walk off into a deep, dark fog. So that is the lore we've made as to why each character is into the fog. Now I understand that Daryl himself is in Beta's lore, but I just think that where each character is into the fog is their most vulnerable state within the show. Rick was taken when the bridge blew, Daryl before he was captured again by the Saviors, and Beta when he would have died at the hands of Daryl and Negan. Each taken at the moment they felt most emotion, and as we should know, the entity feeds off of emotions. Now, as the writer of the stories of how they were taken, I do hope you enjoyed it, and if you liked it, please let me know down in the comments below. And if you didn't like it, I hope to get your feedback down in the comments below. Well, we here at Horrific Encounters enjoyed our concept for if the Walking Dead TV show were to enter the realms of Dead by Daylight. I feel that it would fit perfectly within the game, and the relationship between the various survivors and the ones from The Walking Dead would be pretty interesting to possibly read about. I've always felt that we should get tomes set in the realm of the entity to see how the various characters would interact with each other. Now to discuss the last thing that will be done in our debriefing, and that we'll be discussing is the idea for Beta's Mori animation. So I feel that Beta is a big, strong guy who is also very fast due to possibly have also been a basketball player before the apocalypse. So I think he could have two separate Moris depending on if he is controlling a walker or not. With the walker, the survivors should try to stand up, but the walker is behind them and chomps down on their shoulder. As the survivor falls back down to the ground, two more walkers come up and get down on their knees and start chomping into the survivor's body. For the rest of the trial, the three walkers will be set decoration, sitting there eating the body until the game is over. And without controlling a walker, the Beta takes out his two knives and quickly slashes the survivor front and back. The survivor swings and tries to hit Beta, where he jumps back and throws a knife into the survivor's leg. He walks up and takes the knife back. Then they fall to their knees, where he grabs and rips their head off and sticks it on a pike. The body can despawn if need be, but the head on the stick stays for the rest of the trial, showing a warning to all who try and stand against the Beta. Now, from watching our files of every kill the Beta has done, I chose a few different moves he has done and added a few more for a more brutal kill. There are plenty of different ways a Mori for Beta could go, but this was the option I liked the best. I wish I could animate or something, then I would try and actually animate what his Mori would be. Either way, I do believe that we have come to the end of our session today, and this is the end of our documentation on a Walking Dead concept for Dead by Daylight. We here at Horrific Encounters thank you for listening. My name is Agent Nikki Kendo with Horrific Encounters, and I hope you enjoyed it. This will conclude our debriefing. This is Agent Nikki Kendo, signing off. Goodbye.